Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've done one of these, but yeah, things kind of just got caught up. But welcome to another episode of my Villainous Reviews series, and today we will be going over Ursula from Disney Villainous, who is the main villain of the Little Mermaid. Now, you probably, if you don't remember, the first episode goes over all the basics I'll be talking about, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go and watch that one. I highly recommend you watch that one and the other episode. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. It's been long enough. So the first thing we'll just take a quick look at is the villain guide for Ursula, which basically just gives the rundown of some strategies on how to win her objective. Pretty much, it's basically the exact same as the other villain guides. So I won't really be saying much in these segments because there's not really much to say about them. They just kind of help you know what to do when you're playing. Yeah. It does have some really nice art on the front, though. So next we have Ursula's mover, which quite like. It's a really nice shade of purple. As you can see, it has her hair and her tentacles, and kind of resembles like her body. It's a pretty cool piece. Not as cool as some of the other ones, but you know, looks good for the character. Yeah, again, really nice shade of purple though. And yeah, really like this mover. So here's Ursula's board, and like all the villains, she has 4 different locations to go to. We have Ursula's lair, where you can gain a power, you can activate, move a card, or you can play a card. Eric's ship, where you can also gain a power, play a card, discard, or you can do a fate action on another player. You have the shore, where you can play a card, discard, gain free power, and play another card. And then you have the palace, where you can move a card, do a fate action, gain 2 power, and also a new action, you can move a hero, which I will explain in a minute. Ursula's objective is to start your turn with the trident and the crown at Ursula's lair. So, essentially what you need to do is you need to play 2 cards, one being the trident and one being the crown, and you have to get them to Ursula's lair, and even if you get them there at the end of a turn, you have to wait your next turn to be able to win the game. So, yeah. It sounds pretty simple, but I'll explain why that's not as easy as it may seem. One of the first reasons being that Ursula, much like Jafar, has a lock token in her realm. However, unique to only her, the lock token never actually leaves your realm. It always starts at the palace, but there are cards in your deck that allow you to move it to Ursula's lair. So yeah, unlike other villains, she never actually loses this token. So that can be pretty annoying when, especially when you're close to winning. So obviously, to win the game, you have to have the trident and the crown in your realm. And we'll just go over those 2 cards real quick. So the first one is the trident, which costs 4 power to play. And when trident is played, find King Triton and play him to this location. Attach a trident to him. When King Triton is defeated, trident is returned to Ursula at the same location. So essentially what happens is, you have to put this on King Triton, and when you eventually defeat him, this goes down any location he was at. So for example, if he were at Ursula's lair, you could just have, it'll just go back down here. So, I mean, sometimes it's good to try to get him to Ursula's lair rather than, try to defeat him somewhere else. And I'll get to how Ursula defeats in a little bit. The other one is the crown. And this one actually has an activate ability where you can look at the top 2 cards of the fate deck and discard both cards or return them to the top in any order. Unlike the trident, it doesn't have really any hero you need to specifically defeat to earn it. But it's still kind of a hassle because it can take a while to find, and also it's 4 power, just like the trident. So yeah. The cards aren't really necessarily that bad. It's just they can be hard to gain. Ursula is very unique in the game, as she actually does not have the Vanquish action, which allows you to defeat heroes. So now you're wondering, well, the Trident requires you to defeat Triton, so how do you defeat if you don't have a Vanquish action? That's where a unique thing only to Ursula comes in, and that is these binding contract cards. So each location has a binding contract. This one is for the palace, and when you play these, you attach it to a hero who is not at the location specified, and when they are moved to that location, they immediately are defeated. So yeah, so that's where the move a hero comes in play. It allows you to move a hero to the next location. And there are a couple other villains who have this also, but yeah, it's pretty, yeah, it can be hard to use these, especially if the villain is really far away from the location, but there is another card that can help you get them quicker, which I'll go over in a minute. There's also a binding contract for the shore, Ursula's lair, and Eric's ship. There are two other cards in Ursula's deck that can be pretty useful for finding the cards and getting the heroes quicker. The first one is the Whirlpool, which costs 1 power to play. And what happens when you play this is you can move a hero to any unlocked location, which means, say, you have a hero that needs to be defeated at Eric's ship, but they're at the palace. You can just play this card, you can immediately move them here and defeat them. The other one is Change Form, which costs 1 power to play, and it moves the lock token to either Ursula's lair or the palace. So yeah, like I said, you can't actually get rid of the lock token, but you can move it between the locations in order to be able to access them easier. The one problem with that is this card doesn't have a lot of copies, so it can be kind of annoying when you really need it and you can't find it. But yeah, those are the main cards you need for to win Ursula's game. So when your board resembles this, you actually win the game with her, so yeah, once again, you have to wait until the start of your next turn in order to win the game, but if all goes right, if your board looks like this, next turn you should be good for winning. Ursula has 8 unique heroes in her Fate deck, which can disrupt gameplay, and as usual, I will be going over each of them by their strength. The first hero we'll be going over is Flounder, with a strength of 1. And when Flounder is played, you may shuffle Ursula's discard pile back into her deck. So, really, he doesn't really do anything to hinder your progress. He's just kind of there to block the actions, which can be annoying, but, like, he's not that big of a threat. Sebastian is our next hero with a strength of 2. And when Sebastian is played, you may choose a binding contract that is attached to a hero at an unlocked location and attach it to Sebastian instead. So basically what happens is if you had, say, King Triton, you're about to defeat him, Sebastian could just come in and ruin all that by taking the binding contract for himself, like the greedy crab he is, and sorry. And, yeah, disrupt everything. Again, not necessarily too bad, but, I mean, it can be annoying when you really need to defeat Triton. But other heroes, it's probably not that big of a deal. With a strength of 2, Scuttle is our next hero, and when he is played, you may choose an item from Ursula's Fate discard pile and attach it to Scuttle. So, yeah, the items don't really do a whole lot. There's the Dingle Hopper, which is just a fork, and a Snarflout, which is just a pipe. One of them just adds, like, can't attach things to, and the other one makes the binding contracts cost more. But really, I mean, again, he really doesn't do much to hinder your progress other than blocking actions, so really, he's just kind of whatever. Grimsby is our 4th hero, and if you don't remember this guy, he's Eric's, like, butler. And when he's played, you may move the lock token to either Ursula's lair or the palace. So yeah, he can be pretty annoying when he's played, because especially if you have the lock token at the palace, you're just about to win the game, and then boom, this guy comes in, he ruins everything. Yeah. But again, he's not really that hindering if, like, say you had it at Ursula's lair, you're gonna move it to the palace anyway, so yeah, he can go either way. Max is our next hero with a strength for 3, and if he's played to Ursula's location, you may move Ursula to any unlocked location. Again, not necessarily too bad, but, you know, he blocks actions, so, and if you're at somewhere you really needed to be, or they move you somewhere that you didn't want to be, yeah, it can be annoying. But again, not really that bad. Eric is our next hero with a strength of 4, and when he is played, you may move a hero to any unlocked location. So that can be annoying if, say, the location that they need to be defeated at is right next to them, and he can come in and move them. But again, he doesn't really hinder your progress that much unless the hero is Triton. So yeah, he's not really too bad either. With a strength of 4, Ariel is easily the worst hero you could get, because when Ariel is played, you may move an unattached item from an unlocked location to her location, and until she's defeated, you can't perform the move, an item, or ally action. So yeah, basically, let's say you have the crown in your realm, or both of them, and Ariel comes in and takes a trident. You're pretty much doomed if you can't defeat her quickly, because you can't perform the move, an item, or ally action. So yeah, that can be extremely annoying when you're about to win. And also, if you don't have the crown at Ursula's lair, or the other one at Ursula's lair, you can't move it towards it until she's out of the realm. So yeah, pretty annoying to get. The final hero with a strength of 6 is King Triton, and the cost to play a binding contract or effect that targets King Triton is increased by 1 power. So, I mean, really, his ability isn't that bad, but he is the main hero you need to get in order to win the game. So, if you don't find him quickly, it can take a while to be able to progress. Still, though, I mean, he's really not that bad. Also, one other thing to note is that even though they do have a strength, again, Ursula doesn't have the Vanquish action, so really the strength doesn't matter that much in terms of, like, defeating them. Is just kind of there as like a placeholder, I guess. But yeah, because Ursula's allies cannot defeat heroes. So yeah, just thought I'd mention that in this segment. The last thing we'll be going over for Ursula's game is her 2 allies, and yes, she only actually has 2 allies. So we'll just go over them real quick. This shouldn't take too long. The first one is Flotsam, who costs 2 power to play. And he does have an activating ability where you can move a hero from Flotsam's location to an adjacent unlocked location. And also he has a strength of 4. So while he can't actually defeat the hero, he can help you progress into doing it. And the same goes for the other moray eel she had, Jetsam, which has the exact same ability, same cost, same strength. But really they aren't that important to winning the game, so like you could still win without even playing these 2, but still cool that they bothered including them. So overall, my thoughts on Ursula's game: it's pretty fun. It's definitely probably the most challenging of them due to the amount of hindrances you can and the lack of a Vanquish action, but it's still a really fun time. Out of the 3 I've reviewed so far, I'd argue she's probably my favorite to play. But yeah, really, I don't really have much else to say about it. It's just a fun time, though I wouldn't recommend her being one of your first characters due to the difficulty curve with her. But anyway, that is my review of Disney Villainous Ursula. If you enjoyed, please like the video. I'll actually probably be filming the next one the same day, but I don't know if I'll upload it the same day. But, yeah. So, you guys all have a good day, and I will see you in the next review. Bye-bye.